lollipop.
We've been talking, now we'll stop.
Right. Welcome to Writer's Workshop. This is our third day. Yes, Addison? Oh, yes, we didn't have our ticket. Can you put them in your chair and we'll talk about that later? That would be good. All right, so our saying for today that we're talking about is, when you're done, you're just begun. When you're done, you're just begun. That's something we're going to be saying to you a lot during the rest of the workshop, because you have learned how to become excellent writers.
And I learned how to become a frog.
Let's review a little bit about what you have learned. You have learned to think of an idea. It's something you do or something that happens to you. Yesterday you learned how to touch and tell across all of your pages. Then,
Sketch.
where you touched, exactly, you remember, you sketched what you were telling. You turned the page. Yes, yes, you sketched each page for every thought. And we call that planning, because good writers plan what they're going to write. Otherwise, they can go off on another story, can't they? They write page 1 and then they end up on page 2 writing about something totally different. But if you planned about it in advance, then you know what's going to go on each page, right? It keeps you organized. So that's what you learned yesterday. And you wrote, and oh my goodness, it was a writing factory in here. You wrote amazing stories. And you wrote a lot of things with details. I loved all the reading that I read yesterday. In fact, I want to go back and read it again, every story, because, you know, it's like what we do here. When we read our stories, we go back and reread them and find new information and new details to think about and talk about, don't we? And you know one thing else that happens? You start forming questions. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. Today's lesson is going to be about this word, number 4. And this word is revise. Can you say revise?
Revise.
Review? It's kind of like that. It actually is kind of like that. To review or revise. To review would be to go back and look at your work, right? Go back and look at your writing. It's kind of that too. You're right, Anastasia. To revise then would be to change it a little bit. So let's think about that. When you're going back to review and look at work, you might think of a change that you would like to make. Let's look at this story.
When I was riding my bike.
When I was riding my bike with my friends, I fell down. I started to cry. Now you may already be thinking of some other questions. If you had this person here with their writing, you might be thinking, oh, I wonder about this. I wonder what or where or why or how. Some kind of other detail about the story. I'm thinking right now, when I was riding my bike with my friends, I'm wanting to know who were the friends in the story. That would be some details. You guys love mentioning each other in the stories, don't you? Like Cameron yesterday. Cameron put down that he loved playing tag with his friend, actually his cousin, Abel, right? And I'm so glad you put his name in there. Then I didn't have to say, who was it? Who were you playing tag with? Because we want to know, don't we?
So Abel.
Yes, exactly. So that's something that helps us add a detail. When we are revising, we're going back and thinking about some questions and adding some details. So I'm going to put that here. Who? When riding my bike with my friend, I don't know who, I fell down. I started to cry. Can you think of any other word? I mean, you might want to think of some other thing. It could be a question word like what or where. It could be. Like when he fell down, I'm kind of thinking, what did he hurt? Did he hurt his elbow? Did he hurt his foot? Did he hurt his hand? Do we know?
His feet? His feet?
Yeah. Are you wanting to know what got hurt?
Or his head?
Yeah. I want to know. He says he fell down, but we don't know what exactly he hurt. We don't know. We don't really know. So that would be another question word. Look at that. We could say who or what. Yeah.
My bike
Now the next part of this story says, it hurt. Read this with me.
Yeah, it's the same.
It hurt very bad.
It was his eye.
Very bad, yes. I had to get a bandage. Now, Trinity just said, look at the tears.
I was right. It was his hand.
It looks like his hand, unless that's a leg. It's hard for me to tell.
It's his hand. His other leg is like this. It's his hand. His hand.
It could be, but look at that little hand there, and I thought that might be a hand. But yeah, this is coming all the way up from here. I think you're right. I think it is because it's coming out from right there from the picture.
About me riding on my bike and it was wobbling because my training wheels were so loose. I was wobbling around and I almost was falling, but I had my feet up and then I got a big bruise.
You know what? That sounds like a small moment story. Do you think you could touch and tell across at least 3 or 4 pages about what happened first and next and next? And then I would love to see that story and read that story. And then you could add more details. And guess what I would have? I would have more questions about it.
It's big.
All right, let's get back to this story. So far, when we revise, we ask questions like who and what. We look at those things. And we might even ask, we can keep going. I'm looking to see some other question words. You know, we could even do how. We could ask how, something about it. How did your mom fix it? Yeah. How did your dad fix it, or grandma, whoever you're with? We could write how. Yeah. Yeah.
Not me.
And then, how did you feel later? So let's see. My mommy took me inside. I watched the TV and I said, "Cool." You might. Yeah. You might want to know, did you watch TV in your room, in your bedroom? A lot of kids have TV in their bedroom.
I did.
Where did you watch TV?
Well, I did.
Wait a minute. I love all your ideas, but should you be talking right now?
No.
All right, I know. You know why you're talking so much? Because you're so excited, and you have so many thoughts, and I can't wait to see those thoughts on your paper in words. So don't forget to do that, and we'll tell each other some things, too, with our partners. But, so yes, there's a lot of things with where. Another thing you could do, you could even use the question word why. You might use the question word why. So let's look in revising. Look at all these questions we can ask about our stories and revise them to make them a little bit better. Because the author's purpose for these stories is to share and give you information. Sometimes it entertains you a little bit, right? And it also, yesterday, we remember that we said writing gives you a voice. And here you get to voice everything you're thinking about, everything that happened. And today, it's when you're done, you're just begun. You've just begun. That just means, and I thought about that, and I thought, well, that means you could just keep writing on that story, put it away, get it out another time, and write on that story some more. You might not ever finish a story completely. There's always going to be new questions that could be asked about your story. And it's the thing that we want you to realize is that when you write a story and you say, I'm done, that you may not be done. And there's a lot of stories that just you keep on revising, making them a little bit better. I want to also show you a couple of fix-up strategies because I'm going to send you off to the table. And you're going to take one of your pieces of writing you've already written. You've got those. Or you can make a new piece. If you've got a small moment story in your head and you want to touch and tell across the pages and start writing that, that's fine. Or you can go back and revise. And we can look at what you've added. Be sure to ask yourself the questions. And I've posted these around the room. Who, where, what, why, when, how. To give more details to your story. And there's one or two things I want to show you. When you go back and you add those details, what's a way you could do that? Well, I want to introduce to you a carrot.
A carrot?
And this is not a carrot like you eat. A carrot is actually a symbol. If I have it like this, it looks like less than, or a V, or greater than. But we're going to do it, we're going to do it like this. Here it kind of looks like a pyramid, maybe a tent. And what happens
That's
when
like
you
an
use kind of an A without its cross, the caret is where you're drawing really a little arrow to insert or put something. Look what happened to this story here. I'm going to cover that up for a moment. This person put, I was at camp. And they want to add one summer. So they did this little arrow or this caret and decided they wanted to put, instead of just, I was at camp, people were like, when were you at camp? They had a question. So look what he did. He just drew that little arrow or that caret to say, oh, one summer I was at camp. And I went to camp. I can't read the name of that camp from here.
That was like an A.
Yeah, it looks like Camp Kilomino. I don't know. It was so high. I was so scared. Yeah. And so he went back and added that caret for more information because someone probably said, when? That was one of our W words. One summer, not Mrs. Summers, but yes, that's like summer. One summer. And another way, besides that, is a very easy way. Sometimes when you have a story and you use up all the lines of your page, and you don't want to go to the next page because the next page is, remember, you've already touched and told something else. And so, but you do need to add one more little detail. And so what we're going to do is teach you how we can come around and we'll just staple an extra piece. If you just have a couple of words or one sentence, we can add one line. Or it might be you need a little bit more than that, and we will staple or tape that on there. Okay, these are just little strips so that your story will be complete and you'll get all the ideas that go on that part that you've touched and told, so they will fit on there. It might be you answer a lot of why and what and where questions with that part. So you're going to be able to add that if you need just a little bit more room on your story. We'll fix that up for you. Okay? So those are two ways we can revise our stories today that we've learned. And the way that we began, let's go over it because you're getting ready to go off. So let's say I can revise my stories by asking why, who, what, where, how. And then when you do that, and you're going to put that on your paper, you can use a caret, or you can use some extra strips of paper.
I wouldn't want 2 pages on it.
Yeah, you can do that. And one other thing, I'm going to come around and find you while you're working and give you a folder. This happens to be Gracie's folder. And when you get your work, what we're going to do is we're going to start putting the work that we've revised and we've answered all of our questions and we feel like we're done, although we still might not be done because we know our saying. Let's say it together. When you're done, say it with me. When you're done, you've just begun. But this side, red, you'll put a story in here that you're still working on. If you're still working on it, we will put it on this side. If you say, oh, I have revised this story, I've asked my questions, I've used the caret for the things I know, and I think I'm done, but you still might not be. But you're pretty sure. You can put that on this side. This is the ones you know you want to work on.
So we get those stories.
So you'll get your own stories, and then you're going to revise those, and then I'm going to give you a folder to keep this inside of that later. So when I pull it out, I'll say, oh, Caitlin is done with this story. Let me see what she has to say about that one. But you'll keep this folder inside of the other folder. Okay? So you'll each get a folder for your work. So remember, the red means, oh, I'm not done. And the green means it's good. It's all go. Yes. All right. 1 or 2 last questions. If anybody else has a question of what we're going to do.